Nothing to declare, folks. Welcome again. We were hoping to have Phil from Tennessee, but he, you know what, is probably got a little bit of jet lag. So, yeah, I was talking to him earlier, and we were trying to get him. I told him to find a spot in Tennessee where he could have a still, and the guy with the rusty shotgun without the shirt but the overalls, you know, out there, maybe you know, it's always important, though, to bring in the modern aspect of it. So you have to have generic soda that you buy at whatever the generic soda is. It just says soda or, you know, whatever that is. A couple of cans on the ground with bullet holes in them. But nonetheless, we'll work that out. We'll try to get you guys a live show from Phil from Tennessee. We'll see if we can't get that worked out. He's probably... he's in hog's heaven, probably eating some barbecue. I know they talk about Memphis, but Phil's accent's a little bit different. Nonetheless, we'll get Phil back on the show here very soon. And of course, I was a little bit late today, so that's why we're throwing some time warps at you here. But we got a few things to talk about, nonetheless. Couple of things we need to say: a prayer for Notre Dame, some of the images that are coming out, and what's happening with this fire that's pretty much destroyed the cathedral, one of the most historic cathedrals. If you've ever been to Notre Dame, it's so hard to imagine that this place might not survive. And there's certainly the damage is. If you're looking at the photos, it's incredible. But sadly enough, while it was burning, we reported. This is a really hard story to report. A guy, and I'm sure it was for the guy that took this video, and it was basically a video screen capture that he took. He was in a channel where there were a bunch of Muslims celebrating, and everybody was flocking to this site, and you could see that it's just like if you had a live broadcast going and all the comments sections are going. It's just racing by all of these comments, most of them in Arabic, some in English, but they're all big thumbs up and smiley faces, and they're celebrating the fact that this incredibly historic monument, which is also a church, is burning to the ground while it's happening. And they're exchanging pictures and high-fiving one another as if they had set the fire. And that's a sad thing. That's a terribly sad thing. It's sad to see people celebrating 9/11. People can construe what happened at 9/11 as an attack on the United States. It's attack on more than that. It's attack on the foundations of civility. But you can see the Somali pilots being dragged through the street and being ripped apart, and their clothes being torn off them, and their limbs being torn off them, and animals in the street are ripping these people apart, these pilots, and people are celebrating that. They're celebrating pictures of that. It's an American pilot. And you could construe that as being political. A church burning, folks, is about a historical monument. Anyone who's ever been there, celebrating that, man, you got to feel sorry for these people. You have to feel sorry for them. So that was a sad thing to wake up to, and you can check it out, the aggregate section on the goldwater.com. We have a gateway page there to a couple of different articles with video of this entire thing, and it's so incredibly sad that has to be put into political terms. I think that You know, there's nothing you can say. I think these people should probably watch some of the aerial photography and video that we've got of the AC-130s that are flying around Afghanistan and Iraq. Some of these guys that are doing some gunning, and they're doing a great job at it. And you can see they're all going into that mosque, and we can't shoot that. We can't blow those things up. So you can see these people that are coming out with RPGs. They've been, you know, a busy day setting IEDs all over the road. They're combatants. They're the enemy. Okay, you can call them whatever you want. They're the enemy. We're there to destroy them. And yet they get a break when they run into a mosque. Okay, I mean, this is like an internationally accepted deal. Okay, it's kind of like in the Geneva Convention, except I don't know if it is. I don't know if it's illegal under the terms of war, Article 5 of Geneva Convention, that you can't blow up a church. But we don't do it. We don't bomb mosques. It just doesn't look good, you know. And you know what? They should go in there and pray. They definitely need to. Terrible stuff, folks. Terrible. And we're going to be keeping an eye on that. Muslims laugh as Blaze destroys Notre Dame Cathedral during Holy Week. I mean, come on. So that's over at thegoldwater.com. We had a couple of other stories that are really going to set you off. And you can see this poor church. We'll try to get some other images when we're back. It's afternoon right now here in Manila, but we've got some stuff that, wow. First of all, hey, congratulations, Tiger. 15th major. And this is his 5th Masters. He's got 5 green jackets in the closet now. And for all of you people who went, oh, wow, including Nike, including all of the guys that decided because this guy had a little issue, and, well, you know what? The guy likes sex, and his wife wasn't giving it to him, and he decided that he needed sex. And so you can't blame the guy. I think it's immoral to cheat on your wife. He never should have gotten married in the first place. But that's not a reason to destroy somebody's career. He had his own emotional issues, but we certainly didn't help. If you remember back when Tiger Woods was an idol. He was every 8-year-old boy wanted a set of golf clubs because they wanted to go out and play golf. Now, how many fathers out there were like, oh, wow, this is going to be expensive. And yet he was this huge wave. So many people started playing golf, including the people who were teenagers when Tiger was winning his first Masters and everybody was celebrating the guy as being the world's best golfer. They celebrated the man. And thank God he's back. That's great. And also, folks, golf is not a bad sport. I remember we went over to Intramuros. That's where we did the last show. We had, by the way, we weren't on last week because we had a holiday here in the Philippines. And you don't want to mess with that. Don't want to mess with that, even though Kit did offer to come in. Thank you, but you know what? Listen, I'm catching the Filipino spirit. You don't mess with the holidays around here, especially the day before. You know, you don't want to do anything important or have anyone see you the day before a holiday here. But getting back to Woods, this is an amazing thing. It goes to show you that this political channel, this whole media rush, this loop that this man went through is very much like the career, because having to get his game back to the level that it was, and now he's playing against kids that he inspired who went into the game with the best training and the best equipment, and now he's back and he wins the Masters. Bless you, Tiger. It's awesome. I was always there with you. And, you know, it's a shame what Nike did to him. It's a shame what how people can, you know, a company such as Nike can just toss these people away. I was there when they inaugurated. I was on the Nike campus in Beaverton, Oregon, when they cut the ribbon on his brand new building. And they set up a driving range for him, and you know, he had a wireless microphone and was hitting balls, and he was answering questions from all of us, anyone that was there, and he earned that money. I mean, he really did. It's absurd that he makes so much, but that guy spent a lot of time being the best golfer in the world, and went from there to he couldn't even make the cut for a second round in not even a championship. I mean, I think it was he didn't make the cut at a few. He started making, like, he couldn't even make the second round cut. So that is an achievement of itself. So, I mean, you're talking about 15 major tournaments, outright wins. You're talking about the U.S. Open, the British Open, and of course the Masters. And this is a feat. This is a feat because he's back, and to get back to where he was before at twice the age is amazing. So, congratulations, Tiger. That, you know, I think people should really understand who they should stick by. Now, we're going to have to talk about it, folks, and this is just how this is happening. I'm going to leave you with a very... I've been thinking about this for quite a bit. And what I'm about to say is not the opinion of the Goldwater. It's not the opinion of any sister network, 8chan. It's not the opinion of the people around me. It's not the opinion of the people that I work for, that work with me. This is just me. And I'm going to say this. It's not even the opinion of... I haven't even talked to Dr. True about this on the story behind the story, but this nagging feeling keeps coming over me, and with New Zealand, with what happened in New Zealand. And you're wondering how all of this, because you're not hearing about it anymore, and these people are getting neatly tucked away, but what we are hearing about are all of the laws. And what are the laws that are implicated right now? Who are the people that this thing has affected? Aside from obviously the families of people who were, you know, that has been just totally destroyed. But what is the end result of this? This manifesto, this whatever it is. And what was the end result of Las Vegas? When's the last time we heard anything about that? Did we ever get any more information on it? Are we getting more information, forensic information, on this guy in New Zealand who shot up a couple of mosques and killed 50 people? No, we're not. We're not getting it. What we are getting is, in history, the biggest ban, the fastest ban, and I had no idea that New Zealanders don't vote on this type of thing. It's basically someone saying, we're going to get rid of all the guns. And Australia is doing the same thing. And, okay, hey, by the way, folks, this guy was an immigrant, okay? He was Australian. He was over in New Zealand. He wasn't a New Zealander, okay? So if you're going to focus on some laws, make sure start with foreigners having guns in your country. I'm here in the Philippines. I cannot legally own a weapon here, and I totally understand it. I think it's the right thing, and I think everybody in the United States who has a gun should have a blue passport or, you know, proof of citizenship. Okay? I think everybody should go get a passport, by the way. Because a passport should be your identification. You can get a passport without your home address on it, And you can get a passport without a social security number, which is used for financial information, which is illegal for them to do. If you look at the back of your social security card, it is not intended for identification purposes. Nobody, no bank should be using that whatsoever. None whatsoever. So it is simply for your benefits of Social Security. People need to go out and get passports and identify themselves properly. They should refuse to use biometric data in order to do so. But having a passport entitles you to have a gun unless you're on the record being a goddamn lunatic, some crazy nut job. But if you don't have a fucking passport, you don't get a gun. Period. Now, that is what should have happened in New Zealand. If you're going to make any law, make a sensible one. Only New Zealanders should own guns. How about that? But take a look, because this guy shot up, an Australian comes over and shoots up this place, you're going to ban all of the laws. Now, I'm going to go one step further. What I'm saying isn't controversial at all. But speaking of passports, the thing that you get when you're a billionaire, when you're a super tech billionaire, a twit that is up in the realm, or somebody in Google or somebody on Facebook, and you're in that upper class, and you're, you know, the 1% that all of the people camped out in San Francisco and New York are protesting, yet these people are your gods secretly. The one thing, after the jets, after the yachts, after the helicopters, and after the mansions everywhere on the private islands, the one thing that they are all in competition to get and show off at their parties, if you're a billionaire, is a second passport. This is the thing that is the most important thing to them. It is coveted. It often costs millions of dollars to get some of these, and guess which country the biggest prize is? This is the boardwalk of passports. It's New Zealand, folks. It is New Zealand. They do sell passports, and I don't have any problem with countries selling passports. I mean, somebody wants to buy a U.S. passport for $2 million, even if he's from Iraq. Check the guy out, make sure his family's okay, make sure that you know, he's not going to bomb anyone, and take his $2 million and print the passport. They only cost about $15. That's a good deal. Then put the money at border security, right? There you go. Easy. You want to fund the wall? Sell a few passports. 2 million, 10 million. Put them up to bid. Put them on auction. But here's the problem. These tech people are all flocking to New Zealand, and they're showing off their passports. They're driving property prices way up. Way up. It's insane what's happening right there. The mega rich are flocking to New Zealand. I am going to say something that is going to be very controversial. And again, it's my own opinion. You don't want a well-regulated militia if you're going to go into a peaceful country and you're going to buy it. You're going to buy your citizenship, you're going to buy the land, and it is one of the last countries on earth that, if you take a look at the wind patterns, if there is nuclear war, New Zealand is going to be the last place where there's living people. And so you want to make sure that that utopia in your mind, you've already bought your passport, you've already spent $100 million, $200 million on property, and you're driving other people out of this country. You know, their people are getting pushed out because of your money, and you're building your bomb shelters and your mansions and all of this. You've got your passport. Now you don't want anyone with guns in your utopia. I'm just putting this out there. If you were to do something to get rid of guns in New Zealand, getting some lunatic to do what just happened is the trick, because it worked. Okay? And this isn't anything, because, you know, people can talk about a JFK conspiracy all day long, or you can do false flags, which, oh my God, we can't even say the word anymore. But if you wanted to, put that in your mind. If you wanted to, if you were a group of billionaires and you wanted to make sure that there weren't guns in the country of your refuge that you just purchased, that would be the way to do it. So Go ahead and email me on this, anyone that's watching, burdock@thegoldwater.com. I'd like to talk to you, and we're going to do a little article about it. I'll do an op-ed, and I'd like other people's opinions. Just because Muslims died doesn't mean that there can't be something to be talked about that might be a little bit on the fringe. At least we should be talking about the motives and what's going on behind this stuff. Okay. If you want to talk about motives, take a look at one of the worst killings that this guy modeled himself after, you know, of course, up in Sweden on that island. And then, of course, the bombing that happened right before he goes over to this island and annihilates the adolescent kids of all of these politicians. We know the motives behind that, but are we comfortable with everything there? These are people that need to be studied. This guy's still alive. Okay? We need to figure out what is going on behind the scenes. We need to make sure that this guy doesn't end up dead somehow, because that's something that is just too important to let pass by. Throwing it out there, folks. We're going to be talking about that on the story behind the story. Excuse me, at 7 p.m. Pacific on Revolution Radio. And that's you can find that at revolution.radio. That's 7 p.m. Pacific on Friday. So we'll be catching up with True. There's some exciting stuff that we're going to have Jim Fetzer back on the show. And speaking of conspiracy theorists, he's one of the classic JFK guys. Always a pleasure to talk to him. And then he's also the last time that we spoke. Listen, just because I'm on the radio with these guys doesn't mean that I believe the earth is flat. I'm considered to be a baller in these realms. There's so much of this stuff that you're just getting fired off. And, you know, I'm going to leave with this thought. And I think Elizabeth Warren pretty much summed it up for everybody. This is getting so bad that you've got the Ocasio-Cortezes, they're getting into spats with each other. And Elizabeth Warren, who has some real problems of her own, is now finding a way. They're scrambling to figure out who to defend. But she has called upon the President of the United States to take down a Twitter video and, in fact, actually notified Capitol Police. She notified the sergeant at arms in the Capitol that she believes that the president is endangering a young congresswoman's life, and we all know who she is, Ilya. Here we go, folks, here we go. Pelosi called the cops on the president to take down a Twitter video. What in the fuck can possibly be wrong with that? I mean, give me a break, people. What? How? What world are we living in? Where a senator, the speaker, the leader of the, I mean, how does this work? The majority leader of the House, how can this work? How does this work? It is a bad day. A bad day. So these guys are fractured. Okay. Last count. Without Biden, we've got 18. And we do have an interesting article about the gay mayor. The gay mayor, check him out. He's got his own thing. It's a little folksy thing. They're putting everybody up. They're putting the young, the old. Bernie's in ahead. You've got Joe Biden, which the videos of him licking the backs, the backs of the heads of all of these little girls and whispering into his ear, their ears, and the parents are creeped out. Okay, I mean, nobody wants Joe Biden around. You don't want him coming up. He's just doing this constantly. This is where memes come in. Memes are going to win the presidency. They've got 18 people. This is going to be fun, folks. So now's the time to get in. check out 8chan. Go to 8ch.net. We're just sad that we don't have Hillary. She had $1 billion. I don't know if any of these people could. I mean, is somebody willing to invest $1 billion? It's actually going to be like 1.5 that it's going to take this year, 2020. Who's willing to put up $1,500 million on a bet on one of these 18 people? You've got Yang, who now he's going to be doing a little hologram. He's going high-tech Yang, beam me down. He's the Asian guy that is, wow, he's not gay, but check him out. And so he wants to, he doesn't say he's a socialist, but yeah, that's his gizmo. He's yanging it. He wants a guaranteed income of $1,000 a month for everybody. Okay, this is where it starts, people. This is where it starts, because the government's going to give you $1,000. Now, under what conditions is the government not going to give you $1,000 the next year? What do you have to do? What can you do wrong in order not to receive that $1,000? And I propose to you folks, it's exactly what Google is preparing on something called Dragonfly in China. China! Which means that you will have a social media score and you will be tracked online for your opinions. And if your opinions are that of something other than the government doesn't want you to think or say, if you are a gun owner, you're not going to be eligible for your $1,000. Watch it. Watch it, folks. This is where it starts. Everybody thinks, oh, it's great to give everyone $1,000, even if we could afford it. Even if we can afford it. The closest thing that we have to this right now is up in Alaska, where rightfully so those people have a percentage, and everybody takes a little bit of share of the oil that's getting pumped out of the ground over there, and it's not bad. If you go up to Alaska, especially the second week of August, I recommend, because the Salmon Run, Kodiak Island, great. Any place in Alaska is just incredible. It's awesome. But listen to the car dealer ads, because people are about to get their tax, it's a credit that they get. They get a cut, just like they got a cut for the Exxon Valdez. Everybody in Alaska made money off of that deal. It was a pretty good deal, really. Salmon fishing the next year was the best it's been in decades. I think we need more Hazeltons, and then get the liberals to go up there, clean it up, and they can get their hair's all fucked up anyway. So, I mean, they like scrubbing birds and, being in that. You make some real money off of these oil spills. It's a good deal, folks. Okay, listen, it's a joke. But anyway, the concept is that it does work in Alaska. Alaska is a unique situation. Having these candidates come out, and there's 18 of them now, and Biden isn't one of them yet, okay, because he announced, but he did it by mistake. Good job there, Joe. It's a terrible idea, because what are you supposed to do for the $1,000? And what can't you do in order to get it next year? Anyway, I'm going to leave that with you folks. It's been wonderful talking to you. This has been Nothing to Declare. Godspeed. We will have Phil on later. I can't wait to talk to him. He's jet lagged and getting used to a bunch of stuff. So Godspeed, Phil, and we will talk to you later. As always, tune into the story behind the story with Dr. A. Truott, 7 p.m. Pacific, and that's on revolution.radio. And stay tuned to the Goldwater. We've got some great interviews this month. Godspeed, folks. Have a good day.